The more money you can contribute to the buyer, you can get the 4.99.
Right.
It's just how much money are you willing to go out of pocket. So
Right.
I had a group call with one of my sellers and the mortgage lender to explain that to them.
Right.
Because they want to be out. So that's something we plan on doing, and then just making that property stand out amongst other ones that aren't offering that.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
a good strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta change it up, because if everybody's just like, hey, we're offering closing costs, like, you have to be different, right? You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So that's a great
that's what
strategy.
the builders advertise all the time.
Right. Is the rate.
Is the rate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like buying cars. Speaking of that.
That is the literal thing. I would rather get a root canal.
Me too.
Welcome to another episode of Discover St. Cloud, Florida. I'm Kristin Macari, and I'm here with your host,
Jeanine Corcoran, broker for Corcoran Connect Realty.
And it is time for January's market report. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
and we're late.
Yeah, I know, but we're almost to Valentine's Day. Right?
Yeah.
A few days away, a couple of days away.
Yeah.
Any big Valentine plans?
No, absolutely not. I don't want to go out when all the other people are out. Are you kidding?
Where are they going? To a restaurant to eat?
Yeah.
It's not New Year's.
I don't know. But if you're in Osceola County, a big thing to do a Valentine's Day weekend is go to the fair, right? Because the fair's in town starting this weekend.
And actually, on Valentine's Day, the rodeo is down by downtown St. Cloud. That came out it's weird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if they're marching in the streets. Yeah.
But I think there is a rodeo day parade or whatever. Yeah, interesting. And then obviously, like Osceola County schools, instead of having off for President's Day, we have off for rodeo day, which is
Friday, 20th.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always a good time, to do that. And
I'm headed to. Have you ever been to Lou Gardens?
I have been to Lou Gardens.
Oh, you did go?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So they have 3 bands playing.
Oh, fun.
And you could. Now, they used to put lighted walkways, remember at Christmas time with the bags and the lights. I don't know if they're doing that.
Right.
But have nice trails, but you could sit by one band, sit there, you bring your own food, your chairs to sit on, and you just walk from band to band. You could set yourself up in one spot and then just, leave it. No one's going to take, it's your food.
Right.
And then you just walk to the next one, listen to the band, walk to the next one. And they do have water and stuff like that. But you can bring a bottle of wine and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice.
That's fun.
Something to do. Yeah.
I will say I've only ever been to Lou Gardens working. We filmed there and stuff.
It's way different.
No, I have not gone to experience Lou Gardens
And once a month they do a movie, a big outdoor screen. That's fun too.
Seems like fun.
You bring a blanket, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lots of fun. So
we should definitely look into that. But yeah, the girls will be home this weekend, so I'm not sure what we'll do, but I imagine we'll head down to the fair at some point and at least check that out. It's always fun when they come home and get back together. It doesn't happen as often anymore. So, but I guess without further ado, do you want to take us start with 34769 and let us know what happened?
Absolutely. And 34769, which is basically your state streets mostly. We had 12 properties that sold. 11 of them was single stories at $254.03 price per square foot, and we only had 1 2-story at $173.50.
Wow. So your month-over-month averages are down about 2.25%. I actually wonder if that has anything to do with that 1 2-story home, because 2 stories are so rare in 34769. So that might be affecting that number there. Year over year, though, your averages are up about 12.6%. So that's good. Your median days to contract, how many days it takes to get under contract, is 40 days now in 34769, which is a little longer, about a month and a half. And then days to close, 57. So just about the 2-month mark. Wow. And then with our current active supply of 79 homes, you're looking at about 6.5 months. Oh, wow. Which is interesting in 34769. But it is still, we're coming out of the holiday season. This is January's report. So
right. That's true. That's true. Okay, then we go on for 34771, which typically has the highest amount of activity. There were 64 homes that sold. Of the single stories, there were only 44. Came in at $223.56 price per square foot. The 2 stories, total of 20, came in at $192.40.
Wow. So your month-over-month averages are down about 2.25% in 34771, and year over year, it's about 4.5% decrease. So, some softening in the 34771 area. Currently, there are 393 active homes on the market in that zip code. That does not include the entirety of new construction.
They keep popping up.
They do. but just what's listed in the MLS. And so you're looking at about a 6-month supply in 34771 right now.
I think we're going to keep seeing more and more being listed. I feel it.
Yep. It feels like, I feel like people are just getting restless. They're like, it is what it is. Let's just, make the move. Yep, exactly. Median days to contract is 65 days for your resales. So you're looking about just over 2 months to get under contract, and then 96 days to close. So just over 3 months to get closed in 34771. Wow. And that brings us to
34772. We had 39 homes that sold. Of that, 23 of them were single stories at 221.18 price per square foot. The 2 stories, we had 16 at 198.37.
And so your month over month averages, you're looking at a little bit of a softening here at a 0.22%, so less than 0.25% decrease in 34772. So I would really argue that that's holding steady. If we had one more 2-story this time versus last month, it kind of makes that difference. And then about a 0.5% difference decrease year over year. So again, I think that's pretty, you could explain that with the number of 2 stories versus 1-story homes, days to contract, 54 days to get under contract and 94 days to get closed. So just under 2 months to go under contract and 93 months to get closed. And you're looking at a 7-month supply currently there.
Oh, wow. Wow, I can't imagine what 34773 is going to say. Okay, so in 34773, we only had 23 homes that sold. This is the sleepy part of Osceola County. Of that, 11 was single stories at 200.99 price per square foot. 2 stories, there were 12 at 174.42. But also know that we will fast forward right into Harmony Report. But you want to go ahead and give the stats on for sure 34773?
Again, this one was such little bit of inventory to compare, month over month and year over year. It's showing a decrease month over month of 8.19%. So that's a pretty big decrease, and then year over year decrease of 7.3%. So a pretty sizable declines there. Your median days to contract is 75 days for your resale homes. So you're looking at 2.5 months to just get under contract. And then 117 days to close. Wow. So plan accordingly. If you do want to sell, you're going to need 5-6 months. Like, be patient. It's, they're still selling.
Especially the price range and the product that you're offering.
Right. Right.
The homes that are older need updating.
Right.
The buyers need help. The builders are the ones giving them the new home and the help.
Right.
It's just, there's actually one of our mortgage people was telling me yesterday about a plan to have the, sellers are, most sellers are willing to give concessions, but in their type of program, it would be where they commit to, like, we did a scenario in one of our houses. It was like 2% the seller had to give, and they were willing to give that. And up front, we were offering closing costs. But rather than just offering closing costs, it actually allowed the mortgage lender to create a file, and they're very compliant with their industry. They have to be very careful. And basically was giving the buyers about 5.1%. So to me, like, advertising, hey, seller, willing to help with closing costs or willing to help with so much money, versus, hey, you can get this house at 5.1. Of course, full disclosure, you have to qualify. Right. But I mean, that's getting close to what the builders are offering.
Right. You're getting much closer there.
Yeah. So, and the more money you can contribute to the buyer, you can get the 4.99. Right. It's just how much money are you willing to go out of pocket. So I had a group call with one of my sellers and the mortgage lender to explain that to them. Right. Because they want to be out. So that's something we plan on doing, and then just making that property stand out amongst other ones that aren't offering that. You know? So just
it's a good strategy. Yeah. I mean, you gotta change it up, because if everybody's just like, hey, we're offering closing costs, like, you have to be different, right? You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So that's a great
that's what
strategy.
the builders advertise all the time.
Right. Is the rate.
Is the rate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like buying cars. Speaking of that.
That is the literal thing. I would rather get a root canal.
Me too.
It is. I hate it. I hate car dealerships. I hate it all. But it's a necessary evil when you don't have a walkable community, you know, like if you can't get to the store. So it is what it is. But yeah, I agree with you. So you're looking right now, funny enough, with our active inventory on the market and that fact that we had 23 homes sold, there's actually only a 4.5 month supply in 34773.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's not how it's working.
Right.
In real life.
No, not at all.
No.
Those are great numbers to track just to kind of like look at, but like they're not the end all be all. And we had this conversation a couple of months ago about how, you know, in the old days, right? You know, it would a healthy balanced market between a seller's market and a buyer's market was the 6 month supply range. But that was when you printed MLS books. And had to, you know, it was a much more cumbersome process.
But when you look it up, they still say that same thing.
Right. Well, who's decided? Like, I guess what decides what's a seller's market versus a buyer's market? In my mind, if a buyer can come in and negotiate down the price and get concessions on closing costs, that would seem like it's more of a buyer's market. If sellers are needing to
call
like
Barbara Corcoran and have her on the phone and talk, ask her that question.
We should.
Right? And then just have her on speaker.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll plan for that.
Next month?
Next month.
We want to know. I want to know if that's still the case or if there's some other...
Right. Like, did you ever think that really, you know, things have changed since then?
Right.
You know, technology has moved very quickly.
Right. Because now you can look it up. You can look up a house online, you know, states away, see it through videos and photo, virtual tours, and then just, you know what I mean? Like it's a faster process, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I also feel like our way of life is a lot faster. Like everything's more like instant. Like it's like instant choices. We talked about buying a car. We freaking bought one yesterday. Like just, you know what I mean? Back in the day, it probably would have taken me 6 months to like pull the trigger.
Look around.
You know, So anyway, I'd be curious to see what the thoughts are on that. I mean, and you know, I gave you my thoughts in terms of like, I think if the concessions are back, you know, and the prices, you know what I mean? You're able to negotiate prices down. And I think
absolutely.
That kind of signals more, not saying that it's a buyer's market, but like that it's...
Right, I feel bad for the sellers that have the desperation to have to get out. You know, those are the sellers that, well, reality is you have to be priced really well and willing to give.
Right.
Really well.
Right.
Better than your neighbors. You know, you can't have the mindset of, you know, oh, my house is wonderful. No, it's not, because they're giving new houses away. You know? So it's hard. It's a difficult market. But let's go into Harmony. Okay. So Harmony in 34772, there are 3 subdivisions. We have Harmony Main. It's called Harmony, but it's the original, so we like to call it Harmony Main. And then there is to the west of us, Harmony West, and to the left of us, Harmony Central. So in Harmony Main, where we live, Harmony Main only had in January 8 sales. That's right, 8 sales. We had 2 condos sold in Ashley Park, and their price per square foot came in at $147.57. In the resales, we had 3 resales. One was a single story at $188 price per square foot, and we had 2 stories at $162.86 price per square foot. Now in the lakes, the folks in the lakes, there was some activity out there. We had 3 that sold in January, which is great. And I think that's their market, you know, December, January, February, because we have snowbirds.
Right, exactly. For the retirees are like, all right, enough with this snow.
Yep. And so we had 3. It averaged out $188.61 price per square foot. Harmony West, we go on to. Harmony West had 7. 3 of them were single stories at $191.40. 2 stories, we had 4 at $175.89, and then we go on to Harmony Central, had 9 total. 4 of them were single stories, and actually I didn't do the price per square foot on that. And two stories, we had 5. But
and it's funny because I'm looking at the years that these were built, and in Harmony West, I'm sure that the ones that were from 2023, or the one, I guess, from 2023 is a resale. But I wonder if the rest of them, especially in their sold prices, so $499, $990, like that's definitely a builder. So out of the 7 houses that sold, 6 of them were new construction.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though their year built is 2025, I imagine that it's just because it just finished at the end of the year and just sold in January. And so you're looking, you know, quite a few new construction versus the 1 resale. You know?
And their single stories came in at $221.71 price per square foot
for Harmony Central.
For Harmony Central.
Okay. Very good. And so I guess last but not least would be the vacant land parcels over here. And so we had 9 vacant land parcels. And
weren't they all cash?
They were all cash.
Wow.
And nothing crazy big. The largest was 7 acres on Hickson Ave. It was sold for $500,000.
Wow.
So it's a pretty good price for it, but also hefty price for it. You know, that's down in 34772. And so that's pretty much all that we have. Nothing super large, nothing.
No crazy builders.
Yeah, nothing like that's, 100 and something acres that would give you pause and be like, here comes another development. So yeah, all good stuff. I'm curious to see, do you have any like thoughts on where we are in the market and what's going on? Or
Well, they keep saying as come springtime, when we get new changes that the interest rate will change, but who knows? I mean, 2025 was somewhat of a stale year.
Right.
Wouldn't you say?
I feel like it was stable though.
Yeah,
like
it was
I know,
stable,
like
but
I know it's hard because people like our memory is COVID, right? And so like and the 2 years that were past post-COVID that like we just had houses, you would list a house and it would go under contract right away and you'd have multiple offers and like we forget that in 2019 you know what I mean? Like you forget that like we're not really that far off,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I know people have a hard time giving up low interest rates, I would too. I mean, I think that mine is like I'm the people that I feel like closed mid 2022 and beyond are in a better position.
What is yours at?
So I'm a 4.875.
Okay.
But like I feel like I'm not that far off from market or what we'd be able to buy down, or you know what I mean? Like
And when I had to remortgage a house, I'm at 6.
right. So like
but again, it is what it is.
Right. But I think that like for me, I feel like people who bought in you have to think 2022 is now 3.5 years removed. You know what I mean? Like you're 3+ years removed from 2022. So like some people might be ready to list their homes and sell. And then they're in the position like where we are, where you're close to 5%, because when we closed at 4.875 and I was like, this is so crazy. And then 2-3 months later, people were closing at close to 6%. So like, I feel like that might be a sweet spot for sellers that are willing to, kind of move on or whatever, or buyers, because they're, it's more of an even trade for them. It's not like a big impact to go like, on their purchasing power.
I'm getting less and less, where a year ago it was always like, well, my interest rate is 3. So I just thought, okay, so you're in love with your interest rate versus in love with your house.
Right.
So you're going to live in that house the rest of your life. Is that your reality? Or you're going to stay there and hope that someday it's going to be 3% again. And then you're going to find out, like, why would you stop life over an interest rate?
Right.
I just, if you can make it work with the payment,
right.
I understand it's a big difference.
It is a big difference.
It's a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
Stop buying Starbucks.
Right.
I don't know.
Don't blame it on the coffee. We've been over this, okay? It's not the coffee.
Just,
yeah.
I don't know, make it happen, but, move on with your life.
Right.
Just, I don't know. Just don't stop.
Well, listen, my brother is never going to move on from that house. And he also has a really good rate, but I don't think that's the reason why. They just have a really great house. And
They
a really
do. I
great.
don't know, they had like 3 in the 3s, I think. It's
2.7.
Oh, is it? Oh,
he's
a great rate you got.
I know. I got him a really great rate. Actually, I didn't, but that's okay. Todd did.
Really?
So
yeah,
he's in the 2s. And so, I'm really sad I didn't buy at that point in time in the calendar year. We bought like 8 months before us. And
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, all that to say, I just think that might be the sweet spot for finding, sellers that turn into buyers that are more comfortable, that aren't like struggling with the rate, because their rates are pretty much the same. We're getting to the point where we've been at this price point, this rate for so long that people are at the point that they're ready to like start moving on.
And the other thing is, we're starting to see a lot of like, short sales. Nothing like we went through.
No, definitely not like 2010 levels. Right. But I was looking through the IMAP, the tax thing, and I happened to like click in my neighborhood, and I'm like, that's a few foreclosure little symbols there. Granted, a lot of them were HOA, but like, which is, you know.
Which by the way, the HOA can foreclose on your house.
Right.
And then they own it and then until the bank forecloses on them.
Right.
You know, basically takes the house from them. But
right.
if they're quicker at the process, they will foreclose on your house and put a renter in there.
Right.
While they wait for the bank to make because the banks are taking a long time.
Right.
So, so if you have an HOA, even HOAs in Harmony, they're low.
Right.
Like, do not miss that payment.
Right. Right. Because they can also foreclose, and they're a lot faster, like you said, than the banks. Because, you know.
We had that happen in Harmony, Maine here, where the HOA owned a house.
Yeah.
You know, foreclosed on them. So, yeah, they could do it. They have the power. So, watch out, folks. Pay that HOA.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know?
You think it's just like a payment that you can be optionally paying, and it's not. So,
and also, if you are in that situation, we have a great attorney that gives free consultations. We don't do short sales without having an attorney on the file looking out for you. And he'll do a free consult to talk to you about options. So please, you know,
don't wait until it's too late. There's nothing worse than like getting a foreclosure sale date and then deciding to do something.
And listen, I lost my house back in, when did I lose it? 2011?
Probably.
Well, I think it was going under in 10, but I don't think it foreclosed until 11 when I went through all that. So, you know, again, unfortunately circumstances for me wouldn't allow me to short sale. You have to have both parties agree, and that didn't happen.
Anybody who's on the title has to agree.
Yeah. So we ended up doing a bankruptcy and letting it foreclose.
Yeah.
So don't get to that situation. I mean, there are options, especially the attorney will let you know. There's options to do.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
So.
Anyway, not to end on a down note. I don't think it is though. I think that there's like lots of things.
These are facts.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I feel like real estate's gonna keep moving. Like I don't think we're at like a grinding halt. I don't think that we're in like a tidal wave.
It's definitely moving.
Stuff.
I'm feeling more buyers out. I mean,
Right.
I've closed a bunch of buyers this past month.
Right.
So
I think they're just getting tired. Might as well just and rents are like ridiculous. Like just I am just every time I'm like, oh, you know, we don't need this giant house. Why don't we just sell it and rent for a while? I'm like, what, to pay more?
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
So nuts, man. So anyway, all that to say, that is your January market report for the St. Cloud area. And thank you so much for tuning in. You can always find us online on all your favorite platforms.
Yep. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm just trying to feel
TikTok.
like there's so many.
Yeah, everywhere. If there's an internet place, you know, ChatGPT, we're there.
Just at Corcoran Connect would be your symbol to look up. But all over the place. We keep all these reports on our website, corcoranconnect.com.
Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you in the next episode.